Welcome to this episode. In this episode, I would like us to work on logging in an already registered user. For us to be able to do that, I would like to first of all create some sort of navigation bar where we will be able to display the login, the register, or something of that sort. So let's go ahead and do that. So I would like to go to terminal, new terminal, and here we are going to just have PHP artisan make Livewire, and what I want is a navigation bar, so I'll just call it nav bar, like that. And of course we are going to have a navigation bar created. It's taking a little bit of a while, but it's going to be created. Yes, it is created already. And so inside our navigation bar, I would just like to go and get a navigation from Bootstrap, a simple navigation bar. So navbar, my internet is a bit slow. Let me just pause a little bit. The navbar is working, so the internet is back. So let us look at a simple navbar here. Maybe I can just pick this one, just copy it from here. We are going to put it inside here. Maybe you can just have it as a nav that way. No need for the div. And then now for us to be able to include it in our pages, I would like to go to layout, which we created in one of the tutorials. So components, layout, app.plate, and before the slot, so inside the container before the slot, you can just be able to include our Livewire component. And so what you're going to do is just type Livewire and then the name of the component. So what did we call it? We called it navbar. So nav hyphen bar, like that, and then we can be able to close it like that. And I think our navbar will be included in our page like this. And so here I just want us to have some buttons which will be displaying conditionally whether a user is logged in or not. And since I'm not doing something fancy, just allow me to just flow with whatever it is that I have. So I'm going to work with these links, and one of them I'm just going to do what I'm going to go to the navbar. Where is it? Yes, so we open navbar.blade, and I'm just going to create some conditionals. So we have several links. We have one that is called home. Maybe this one we can call it / customers, like that, and we call it customers instead of home. And then I will, because we have a href, I'm just going to use wire navigate. So here maybe we can have wire navigate, and this will lead us to sort of like the customers page when clicked, like that. So when we click on it, it takes us to this same page. Now after that, I would like to now be able to check whether our user is logged in or not. And so I'm going to just check if a user is a guest. So at guest, using the blade directive, and as you can see, even when we are working with Livewire, we can be able to just have our normal blade directive, so it's perfect. So at end guest, like that, and inside here I want us to have two links, or maybe buttons. Maybe I can have them as buttons, so copy and then paste. Let me just have them as buttons, and one of them we are going to call register. So if our user is not authenticated, then we show them the register and login. Maybe we can begin with the login first and then register, like that. And then after that, now when the user is authenticated, then we can be able also to have some other links. And in fact, I'm going to bring up the link that we had previously. There's a link that we have used there which we called customers. I want to bring and show it only when the user is authenticated. So we can say at auth, and this you check if a user is authenticated. I have typed it wrongly. At auth, like that. We can have at end auth, like that. So if a user is authenticated, I want us to show two links here. One of them will be customers, the one that we have above there, customers, and then the link should be to customers. Maybe you can just copy it, cut it, and use it there. So let me just cut this one and then move it here. Yes, we move it here, like that. So wire navigate, and also this one I want it to be logout. So a user who is logged in can be able to see the logout link, but the one who is not logged in cannot be able to see it. So here we can just say href logout, and then of course wire navigate also. But for this logout, we do not even need to have a link. We can just have it as an action. So let me just have wire click, and then we can say logout, and we can be able to handle it in the same class. So you handle it in the navbar class now in our page. So we have it like that. And so for these two, I think everything is fine. So let us try and see what is going to happen. So when I refresh, we are now having customers and logout, meaning our user is actually currently logged in. The system can be able to check that they're logged in. So let me work on the logout. Maybe I can change it into a button. Just change it into a button, just for maybe visibility, and we can give this button a class of btn primary, maybe secondary. So like that. You make it look a little bit nicer like that. Maybe we can make it a little bit smaller by btn small, like that. So now we have a nice logout button. When we click on it, now we should be able to log out. But currently, as you can see, there is no method. I've attempted to click on it. So you go to navbar class here, because that is the component that has it. We might be able to emit an event and handle it elsewhere, but for now we can just be able to just handle it here. We can have public function logout, like that. And then inside here we can be able to have our logic. I can just write dd logging out and seeing if when we click on it that endpoint is going to be hit. So you attempt, I click outside and then attempt again. Now you can see it saying logging out. I think that's good enough. So we can be able to put our code for logging out our user. And here I just want to pass in request. And then of course I have to import the request trait, or is it helper? So let us do that. So what we are going to do, we are going to use it up here. So we can say use illuminate HTTP request, like that, not small letters capital, single request, like that, yes, capital for just the first word. And then now inside here we can be able now to work and log out our user. So what we are going to do is just say auth logout. And remember, this is just the Laravel way of doing things. And then we can also be able to invalidate the session. So we can say request session. Request session invalidate. Like that. And then of course we can also regenerate the session token to prevent session hijacking. So request session regenerate. Token, like that. And then now from here maybe I can be able to redirect to login, even though of course we do not have the login page, but that is what we are going to work on. So return this redirect, and in this case now we are going to the login. And to be able to just give it a nice SPA without having a page reload, so we can say navigate and set it to true, like that, and that will be able to do the trick. In our login class, in our login component, there's nothing that we have inside here. I would just like to have a h1 tag, maybe h1 and close it, h1. We can just say login page, such that we just attempt to log out and see if we can be able to see something of this sort. And then we'll be sure that our logout method is working. So let me refresh. Very nice. And then when we log out, it seems we have an error. Yes, it says auth not found, and that is because we have not been able to import the auth facade. So you go back to our navbar, and up here I'm going to import, maybe use illuminate support facades auth. So I import the auth facade. Of course you can just say use auth and it will work, but we can just do it the long way. So I will click outside again and attempt to log out. Now you can see we have a reload and the login page is not found, and that is true because we have not been able to set it. So let's go to web.php and have a route that is called login. So we have register. I would like to just copy this one and call it login class. And remember, all these methods, you can have them in a single class, so it's not a must for them to be in all over in many classes like that. But I think also sometimes if you can be able to separate them, it's very easy, because now in case you have an error, checking out the error and correcting it will be very easy. So now we have the method. Of course, if we refresh this, we just go back to localhost 8000 and we refresh, and we attempt to go to customers. As you can see, we are having that the login route is not defined. But this one is just that our login in our web.php doesn't have a named route. So in this case, I can just say name login. What I have discovered is that this one will work, only that we will always be having a page reload. So whenever you visit a route that is not that is an authenticated route, then it will be redirecting you to this login page. So even if I just type here customers, again you will find you still just end here. Oh, but this one we are ending at register. Why is that? Oh, because this is what I had initially. So wherever it is that we'll be ending at is login page. And now you can see here we have register and we have login being displayed here. So maybe I can go and in our navbar.blade give those two the routes, because we handled the customers one, but we did not handle the login and register. So let me just do that. And so here the href for login, to go to login, and then we can also have wire navigate, and then also for this one it will be going to register, and then we will also have wire navigate like that. Remember what I'm working on are these links that we are having above here, because when I was clicking them they were not working. Now you see it's going to login, but it's giving me an error, and then when we click register, it's actually also going to register, but it's also giving an error. I think there's something that I need to check with my web.php, the page. So let us go to web.php. Yes, so this one is, yes, you see this one is supposed to be login and the other one register. So this will go to login class, this one will go to register class. I think that's the reason why we're having a problem. So now when I click login, now it's going to the login page. As you can see, when I click register, it's now going to our register page, and when I click login here, it's still going to our login page. Now let us create this login page, and what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do so much because we already have a register page. I'm just going to copy the code that we have in this register page. In fact, I'm going to copy everything that we have here like that, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste to use it in this login page. I'm going to save. Obviously I can be able to check that our page is displaying nicely, but now it's called register. So let me change the name up there and change so many other things. So here we have register. Let me change it to login, and then the method that we'll be hitting now will not be store user. We'll be hitting a method in our login class, and in this case let me just call our method login user. So this wire submit, so instead of store user, let me just call it login user. We have not created that method yet. And then of course every other thing I think remains exactly the way it is. Every other thing remains. I don't think there's any. Yes, down here I think we can change. So if the user is in the login page, we can ask them if they don't have an account. So we can say don't have an account. Maybe it's poor English, but we will navigate now to register, not login. Register, like that. So if we refresh our page now, it looks like this. But if I click submit, because we do not have a method to handle it, you will see an error in a while. So you can see the method login user is not there, and that is okay. So we can go to login.php, and inside here I want us to have another method which we are going to call login user. So public function login user, like that. No, login user, like that. And then we will also have the properties. So when we are logging in a user, we will need an email, and we also need a password. So let me just copy this one. Sorry, I don't know what is happening. Yes, and you have password. So those two, like that. And then we will also require to have validation. So instead of typing in the whole validation, I would like to just adapt what we had in a store user function when we were registering or maybe creating a new user. So I'll just copy that and come and paste it in our login user, like that. Inside here we are going to have request, like that. And then obviously we do not need the name, so the name we do not need, so this one I'm going to delete, because we just need the email and password to validate. And then one more thing, we do not need the email being unique, so even this one I'm going to remove. Every other thing can remain the way it is. And then now even minimum 8 password, we don't require that, because let the user enter whatever password they had or whatever password they think they have. So now this will assist us to be able to validate these new users. Of course, because we have used request here, again I will have to import that here. So we can say use illuminate http request, like that. And then we can go ahead and now log in this user. So if check if the password matches the email that they have provided, and then we can be able to either decide to kick them out or maybe log them in. So we can say if auth attempt, and in this case what we are checking, we're just using this validated, so I just pass in validated. So it will pass in the email and the password. Now if this one passes, so in other words, we are checking if the password is matching the email. The email exists in our database and its password is a password that is provided. So it will be true if those conditions are satisfied, then it means this user can be logged in. So we can say request session regenerate, like that. Request session regenerate, and then we can be able to redirect this user now to customers page. They can be able to view the customers because we have been able to ring fence the customer such that only an authenticated user or maybe a registered user can be able to access. But remember, this application is just for the purposes of working, because somebody coming from wherever they're coming and then they can be able to register is an issue. So let us go ahead and return this redirect. So redirect, and then we are redirecting to customers, and then of course we can be able to say navigation, set navigate to true, navigate to true, like that. So this is one of the conditions. The other condition now is that this user who has attempted to log in, they have failed at it. In other words, their password did not match their email, or maybe the email did not exist in the database, or whatever it is. So we can just be able to set a custom error, this on the email input. So in this case, this add error, like that. And then our error, we want it to go to the email input, or in other words, wire model email. And then here we can be able to write whatever it is that we want. So we can say the password provided does not match the email. I don't know what that means. Of course, we can just say the credentials provided do not match our records. I don't know. Whatever it is that we have, I think that will be fine. So let us go and attempt and see if everything is okay. Have we included auth? I don't think so. So that is the next thing that I think is good for me to do that. So we are going to say use illuminate support facades and then auth, like that. Obviously you can be able to just use the short form and say use auth. Now I want to just click like that and attempt to submit without writing anything. Now you can see email field is required, and of course I do not know, I have not deleted the name, so I need to go back to that login component and be able to delete the first input, which is the name. So we do not require the name. Actually, we don't need the user to give us the name because that one has no meaning. We just need to think. So I'll delete that one. I'm going to save. So again, we will refresh our form. Okay, when I try to submit, again it's telling me the email field is required, the password field is required. So let me just create give an email here which does not exist, james at hj.com, and then a password. These ones don't exist. Now this validation you failed, so it says the password provided does not match the email. So this was the custom message that we did put, but in Laravel usually I think it's just credentials do not match our records. Now I want to log in a user that I know exists, so we can have William at example.net. I think that one exists. I do not know what the password is. Let me try to make a guess. Submit. Now you can see again, even this one is failing at it. Maybe Juma. Let me try that one. If it does not work, we will just go and register another user. even that one is not working. I just register another user, and maybe let us call this user Albert, and the email Albert at gmail.com, and then the password, just password, something I can be able to remember. So Albert. Okay, let me just copy that one such that submit. Now that user is logged in, I would like to log them out and check our login method. So the user is logged out and we have been returned to the login. So I want to paste their email here and I want to type in their password, and then I want to submit. It says the page has expired, so it will refresh. So let us again paste the email and then the password, attempt to submit. It says the password provided does not match the email. I think there is a problem in our code. So let us go to login. I think there is something that I have created that is a problem. Yes, validated login user. This redirect. So attempt validated, and then redirect to customers. Why am I not able to log in my user? Can I pause for a while such that I check it out, and then once I'm able to figure it out, we can be able to conclude this, because we are almost towards the end. I have attempted to debug and see the reason why my password is wrong, and when we go to the register method, in this case the register class, there is something that I've discovered here which is so profound. You see, for the password I was encrypting the name. My bad. So that's the reason why we have been suffering all these while. So what we need to encrypt here is the password, like that. I was wondering because why wasn't it working? Because I think eventually I was finding that the problem could actually be the hashing, but when I went back and checked, I found out that I actually have a problem. So I would like to, because I was doing some debugging, I was always getting a false matching, and all through we were getting the password and email combination as wrong. Let us try now and probably register a new user, and this new user we are going to call them Tim, and the email is tim@example.com, and then the password, like that. Now we submit. We will be able to log in Tim with the register method, but then I would like us to try the login method. So I will log the user out, and then we will now have tim@example. Did I say .com? The password is just that. When we submit, it wants us to refresh the page. Let me write it again. tim@example.com, the password, like that. Let us see. And now you can see we are also logged in successfully. So basically we've been able to implement login and logout and register methods. Thank you very much for following this tutorial up until this point. I ask that you may please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and you can also be able to